I think it's getting to the point to where we really have to start taking mental health extremely serious, because the more things like this start to happen, the more of a bad reputation nursing and the field of nursing as a whole is going to get. And let's not trip. We all know about the salaries and everything like that. And back in 2020, nurses were considered heroes. But when they started demanding better pay and more perks and all that kind of stuff, now politicians on down start to look at nurses as more as the villain. It's crazy how things can go. Now imagine dealing with that, all that scrutiny that comes with the field on top of other things that go on in the real world. Things that attain to stress and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's very important that we start to get nurses mentally evaluated at least once a year. At least once a year.
But you can live pretty well by yourself.
Now, a while ago I did this story about a nurse who unalived two of her patients with insulin. Now we have more of an update. Let's get into it. Now this nurse goes by the name of Heather, and she's working out of Pennsylvania, and like I just stated, she has been charged for unaliving two patients with insulin. But this is not where the story ends. Take a look at this. The article from Fox News, and link will be in the description, says murderous rage fuels suspected serial killer nurse and Hollywood copycat patient slaying. Investigators say Heather Persady case shares striking similarities with the Charles Cullen unalivings in the 80s and 90s. It says a former Pennsylvania veterinary technician turned nurse and suspected serial unaliver who lost 17 patients and injured more had a murderous rage and could have been a budding serial killer before she got her nursing license, according to a former detective and a criminal profiler who had followed the case and others like it. Miss Heather was first accused of injecting 3 patients with insulin, unaliving 2 of them and injuring a third in November 2022, and later claiming she felt bad for their quality of life, according to a criminal complaint. Authorities tacked on more than a dozen new charges Friday. Between 2018 and her arrest in May, she resigned or was fired from 11 medical sites amid complaints of abusive behavior towards patients and colleagues, according to a police affidavit. Beyond that, however, she is now accused of overdosing patients on insulin, including some who are not diabetic and shouldn't be injected with the drug. And you know, this is where it gets crazy, because she's been fired from 11 places previously. I'm not a human resources person. I do know background checks are done when it comes to getting hired at certain places, but it's kind of hard to believe that some of these places even do background checks anymore, because I do understand a lot of these places are extremely short, and they're going to try to do anything they can to try to get a body in the building, a nurse in the building, and this is where you come across things like this. But I'm going to get back to the article. It says the case has drawn comparisons to the unalivings by Charles Cullen, a New Jersey nurse turned serial killer whose insulin poisoning attacks led to the movie The Good Nurse, starring Jessica Chastain and Eddie Ramis, John Kelly said. I haven't seen that movie. She caught the attention of a detective that worked the case, played in the movie by Noah Emmerich. He told Fox News Digital Friday that Heather may have already been a budding unaliver before she even joined the healthcare industry. She's only been a nurse for 5 years. Before that, she was a vet tech. And one of her primary responsibilities was administering anesthesia to animals and also euthanizing animals, he told Fox Digital. She experimented basically for years before she moved on to humans. Through a search warrant on Heather's cell phone, police said they uncovered a Christmas Day text message to her mother in which she wrote, "I can't with this lady. She's going to get pillow therapy." Wow. 2 days later, an 85-year-old woman under her care passed away, and police say Heather eventually admitted to giving her 60 doses of short-acting insulin. Court documents allege Heather has admitted to 19 similar incidents. 19. How does somebody do this and continue to get away with it for so long? Was it a lack of not doing the proper background checks? Was it a lack of not reporting? Or is it because the nursing industry is so short-staffed that nobody's really doing the investigations properly? I don't know. For those of you who are wondering, that was a senior, not a resident, and I'm on break. But let me get back to it. It says forced insulin overdosing is a particularly painful way to die, Braun said, arguing that excuses raised by both Cullen and Heather involving Mercy were total fabrications. Quote, insulin, I came to learn is not a pleasant way to go. Braun and criminal profiler Kelly, who has interviewed numerous serial unalivers, both predicted that there will be more victims after Heather's earlier arrest this year and 2 insulin-related deaths and another patient's illness. The question here is why. It says many serial unalivers begin by torturing and abusing animals, he said, and become desensitized over time. That could have happened to Heather in a clinical setting, which was the vet's office, putting animals to sleep, and then, that helped her put bigger animals to sleep, like humans. Just like with other serial unalivers, he said it gets easier. So it was almost like she set herself up to do the next best thing, and who knows where this addiction could have gone if she was not ultimately caught and arrested and charged. But this is why evaluations are so important, and I do understand that we live in a time to where there are nursing shortages all over the country, but when you got situations like this, it almost makes people afraid to get care from who they're supposed to be getting care from. And it is very important to check yourself. You got to check yourself, because even though even though most places don't enforce getting a psych evaluation I think you should do it every year, you in the healthcare field, period. But even though most places don't enforce that, you still have to do stuff on your own to make sure your mental health is straight. You know what I'm saying? Like even with myself, I'm getting grief counseling and all that kind of stuff for what happened to me, with my family member passing away. So you have to check yourself mentally. Mental health is important for healthcare providers, and I really think that is something that just really goes like swept under the rug. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm gonna get back to the article. It says that now the allegations of additional victims have been made public, including the text messages. He says Heather has shown a murderous rage. Other texts from her phone allegedly included death threats for fast food workers, co-workers, and other people. Quote, I'm gonna get fired tonight, one alleged message states. Quote, if this B says excuse me one more time because she can't remember my name, she may die. Unquote. Now this was her quotes in the text messages. Now, I'm surprised that her family member didn't say anything like that. Like say anything to anybody about that. Well, I'm not surprised, because if she's sending them to her mom, most parents don't want their kids getting in trouble. She may have tried to talk to her and all that kind of stuff, but it's still something that is very, very alarming. One notable difference between Heather and Cullen cases is the paper trail. Braun said Cullen kept the killing secret and close friends and her family had no idea, while Heather allegedly texted her mother repeatedly about the desire to unalive people. Quote, Cullen, he had a silent rage, Braun said. Quote, she's communicating with others in the fashion, but he didn't. The closest people around him had no idea of the stuff he was doing. So she was bold about it. She vocalized it to certain people, and this is what happened. Now, I guess her mother was the one she trusted the most, because most people probably won't give up their children. Well, she's an adult, but most people probably won't give up their offspring when it comes to certain situations like this. Most people would probably try to go about and get them some help, but I don't know. It says on Friday, Pennsylvania prosecutors announced 2 more unaliving charges, 17 new counts of attempted unaliving, and 19 counts of neglecting a care-dependent person. The charges don't fully illustrate the damage. Authorities said they only charged murder on 4 cases in which they believe they had enough physical evidence, but a total of 17 patients died while under Heather's care. And it's probably more victims. And this is why, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I say, man, we have to get ourselves in check. We have to learn how to care for ourselves. And these companies have to start doing more when it comes to hiring. You dig what I'm saying? It's no way with all these people that had these kind of issues going on within her care, that was not documented and that didn't follow her. I don't see how that happens, but clearly it did. But I'm not in HR. If you are in HR, let me know. Is it that easy for somebody to do these things over a number of years and it not be seen and being able to be got away with? So, I don't know. But let me know what y'all think of the situation. Leave it in the comments. Let me know how you feel. And I'll continue to holler at y'all. Hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell. And I love y'all. I'm going to pray for y'all, and I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute. Peace.